Okay, I'm on page 465. I'm going to do some of the even questions from homework, and we're going to be solving for x. As you know, you have to isolate the logarithmic part or the exponential part before you can actually convert over to an exponent or a logarithm. So in this case, we have x tied up with that logarithm, and there's really not too much else we can do with this until we convert over to the exponential. So remember, when you have a natural logarithm, you're going to use a base e. The logarithm is the exponent, so that'll be e to the 6th is equal to 3x. And we also are solving for x, so we're just simply going to divide by 3. And x is going to give us e to the 6th divided by 3, which is approximately equal to 134.47. And either one of these answers are really okay. It just depends on what the problem is asking you to do. And number 16, again, it's completely isolated. We cannot pick this apart and add 1 to both sides because it's wrapped up in parentheses, which implies that it's all tied up with this logarithm. So again, now we're ready to convert. So we're going to use the natural base e. The logarithm is the exponent, is equal to 4x minus 1. And again, we're trying to solve for x, so we're going to begin by adding 1 to both sides. And we get e to the 36th power plus 1 is equal to 4x. And again, continuing this isolation process, which is very familiar to us, we get x is equal to, I'm going to leave it like this because e to the 36 is an extremely large number. So for all practical purposes, we're just going to leave this answer just like this. The next question, again, we want to just make sure it's completely isolated, and all three of these questions we've done so far, that seems to be the case. We cannot tear this apart or separate it because it's all attached to this logarithm. So I'm going to start with natural base e. The logarithm is the exponent, so 3 is the exponent. And I'm going to set that equal to t minus 1 quantity squared. Now remember, we got to unlock that t here. So probably the easiest and the quickest way here is to take the square root of both sides. A couple things we have to remember. Whenever you take the square root of a square, it drops off the radical sign, and I'm going to bring this over to the left-hand side. And also, what it does is it creates two answers. We have a plus and minus the square root of e cubed. Again, now what we're trying to do again is to isolate t. So we will add 1 to both sides, and we get t is equal to 1 plus and minus the square root of e cubed. Now, what you'd want to do if they were looking for approximations is you'd want to put this into your calculator as is, and you'd have to give both answers. So for that reason, the answers to number 18 would be 5.482 and it would be negative 3.482. And that is, you want to make sure again that you get both of those answers, and that's how you do these types of questions. Let's move on to question number 20. Again, we are ready to unlock this because this whole part right here is a part of this logarithm. Again, you cannot split it up. It would have been nicer if it had parentheses around it, but in this case, since this x minus 1 divided by 2 is all one component, you can't separate it out. So let's convert. E to the 4th is equal to x minus 1 divided by 2. And now you can separate this out. You can solve for x. So I'm going to double both sides. I'm going to just multiply both sides by 2. I get 2e to the 4th is equal to x minus 1. And next I'm going to, again, just add 1 to both sides. And x is going to equal 2e to the 4th plus 1, which if you want an approximate answer, that's going to be approximately equal to 110.1. All right, number 22. This time we actually can simplify it a little bit before we convert. See, this 2 right here can be brought over to the right-hand side just by simple division. And you want to do that. You actually have to do that before you can go. Next, we have ln 2x squared is equal to 1/2. And it's time to convert. So we're going to take e to the 1/2 is equal to 2x squared. And again, we're trying to find x. So let's start by dividing both sides by 2. And again, when you have x squared, you're going to have to take the square root, which, like the other question, that is going to create 2 answers. So x will equal plus and minus, I'm going to write this just a little bit differently, 1/2 e to the 1/2, and that's approximately equal to plus and minus 0.908. All right, let's take a look at number 24. This one is a little bit different. This time we're starting out with e to the 2x and not the logarithm. So again, you just need to make sure that it is isolated. We can't separate this 2 from this x because it's all a part of the exponent. So since it is isolated, let's just convert. We're going to take the natural log of 10 and set it equal to the exponent, because a logarithm is an exponent. And we're going to divide by 2. And you can leave it ln 10 divided by 2. Remember, you cannot strike out that 10 with that 2 because this 10 is a part of this logarithm. And so you can put that into your calculator and you'll get an approximate answer. And that approximate answer is 1.151. And we have 2 more. This one we do need to start by subtracting 4 from both sides. And now it is completely isolated, so let's take the logarithm of 3 is equal to 1/5 x. And again, we're trying to find x, so I'm going to take and multiply both sides by 5. And when you put that into your calculator, you will get the answer 5.493. And the last question, let's start by adding 8 to both sides. E to the x over 9 is equal to 14. And it's isolated, so let's change it back to a logarithm. The logarithm is the exponent, so it's going to be the logarithm of 14 is equal to the exponent. And again, now what you can do is take and multiply both sides by 9. And that's going to be equal to x. When you put that into your calculator, that's approximately equal to, let me just see here, 23.752. Make sure you can get these answers from your calculator, and that's how you do these types of questions. Good luck on the rest of them.